We're queuing outside Nike Britomart for some dunks that are dropping. There's 4 different colorways dropping. I'll go for the black and white ones. I've been waiting outside since around 4:30. So yeah, a few more hours.
How many hours have you been waiting for?
7. And then there's like another 7 to go. So
I'd have to say in the iteration that we are now, which is Soul Central NZ, you know, we've done a lot of good work donating to charities and adding our name to things that are important in the community. So our subculture of sneaker collecting becomes mainstream and it becomes a bit more accepted. It's a different story nowadays. You know, there's a resellers market now, and that's sort of become quite prevalent, which is not why Soul Central was founded, and it's not what we promote actively. There's a place for it for sure, but on our pages it's more about the community, and it's more about history, and it's more about the culture itself.
Warning, I've been scorned, I've been scorned, I've been scorned. Caution, warning.
When I was a kid, shoe stores like Hannah's and Lifestyle Sports, Sterling Sports all had Jordan accounts. So any one of those stores I could walk into and see the shoes that were part of my childhood and what got me addicted to sneakers. So we were lucky enough to live by a mall where all those stores were. So I could just walk in from store to store to store and just see all these shoes that I couldn't afford on the wall. It was like walking into a museum and you see just pieces of art on the wall. That's how it was. My name's James, from Auckland, specifically Central, Greyland. Reebok Above the Rim, or Reebok ATR, because I remember playing basketball in them for my high school. Reebok were not really on the scene. For me anyway, they weren't really on my radar. At the time I was 16 or 17, so I didn't have Jordan money. I got Reebok ATR money. That's where it started. But they were surprising because the cushioning was unreal. They were really ugly. I just remember them being really ugly because the shoe was black. The whole shoe was black, and the Reebok logo on the side was Seattle green. So it just didn't make any sense. Like aesthetically, it was awful. But then when you played in them, they were so versatile. Like you could play indoor, outdoor. When you wore them, it was like, man, they feel better than Jordans. These are the, I think, 2013 retro of the Jordan 9 olive colorway. They mean a lot to me because they were the shoe that I had worn on my first date with my girlfriend at the time, who is now my wife. She remembered them too, so when they retroed in 2013, she said, oh, you should get those because that's what you were wearing when we went on our first date. And she's never encouraged me to buy sneakers before, so that was a surprise. So yeah, these were a must-have, and I really wear them because they're definitely not as comfortable as I remember them to be. But yeah, they hold a special place in my heart. Air Jordan 6 Carolina Low, and these are special to me because they were gifted to me by Philip Bell, aka DJ Severe. He had no real reason to gift these to me, but he did because he knew that I really liked them. And I think they're from 02 or 03. They're pretty old and pretty beat. I can't really wear them out, but again, that's another pair that will never leave the collection because they were a special gift from a special man. So these will always stay with me. Air Jordan 12 Wings. A couple of years ago, 2018, my wife and I were lucky enough to travel to LA on a family vacation. So we took our 4 kids. Being there, but just being there with my family and being able to do everything that we did in that space of time. This pair is special. I picked them up at round 2. It's not a shop, it's not a store to a lot of people, a lot of vintage collectors. That's the memories I have for this pair. Another pair that will never leave the collection. Jordan 12 Michigan. That's special to me because I've been a Michigan fan for a long time. My oldest son's name is Jalen, after Jalen Rose. Part of that iconic Fab 5. So these were a must-have for me. The Pinnacle 11s, Air Max 98 Gundams, the Fear 4, the Air Max Penny 1, and again, I'm just so grateful that there are people in the community like Charlie, who donated this pair, Peter and Ollie, who looked out for me for those Pinnacle 11s. I'm a happy recipient for all these pairs that I've been gifted and have been supplied at really, really good rates, and hopefully one day I can pay that forward again.
So in 1986, Robbie's Sporting Goods, they ran this contest for a product called Stinky Pinkies, and it's a product that you put inside your shoes so that they don't smell. So it was a countrywide, in the whole United States contest, you know. Robbie's back then had somewhere in the vicinity of 150 stores. Well, I won the whole contest for the whole entire country of the United States. So me and my best friend got to go to the Super Bowl in California against the, it was the Broncos and the Giants. And so we got hotel, airfare, and Super Bowl tickets for winning this Stinky Pinky competition. So to me, man, that just really sparked me as probably like a salesman and a retailer from there. My name is Brian Ivel, and I'm from Sarasota, Florida. I've been in New Zealand now for 12 years. I'm the owner of the Nike franchise for the CBD in Auckland, New Zealand. I started collecting while I was working at Robbie's Sporting Goods, which later turned into Champs Sporting Goods, and I started there in 1985, 1986. So I pretty much have had shoes from that era, you know, ever since then, and that's probably where my addiction started. It's probably back in the late 70s, early 80s. You know, it was a canvas court shoe and had a baby blue swoosh on it. It had like a rubber toe, and I used it for tennis, I used it for skating, I used it for basketball. It was like an all-arounder. And then probably the shoe that probably locked it in for me was probably this guy here. Yeah, that's the one. Oh, again, I probably would have to go back to the, you know, the AKA Air Trainer 1, you know, the McEnroe, the Agassi. You know, this shoe for me was the shoe that really I could do anything in, and I still wear it all the time. And with the new release of SB that just came out, I got 5 pairs. Yeah, every day when I get to work, you know, I just put on Bob Marley. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I like to play all day long, because I like to set that type of tone in my store, where sometimes I feel if we're playing different types of music, it goes in and out, and you get customers coming through the door, and you know, that person might not like, you know, rap, or might not like, you know, Travis Scott, but everybody loves Bob. I could maybe tell this story that kind of when I opened my shop in the Britomart, we'd have lineups for Jordans, and the Foot Locker around the corner would get, you know, 100 people in line, and I wouldn't have anybody in line. And I kind of couldn't figure out why I wasn't getting people in line. I had the same shoe. And then I came to find out that they were, you know, they used to give a discount to their VIP customers, so that's why they went there. So I had to come up with a way, without discounting, to get the people to come into my store to line up. So one day I did have a lineup. So at the beginning of the lineup, I had one of my employees, her name Libby Matthews, and she passed out some Dunkin' Donuts to everybody in line. And from there, my friend James and myself, we created Snacks and Sneakers. And it became this really cool thing in the community. You know, then we started involving our friend Anthony Wong from Wong's Wings, and he would come in and bring chicken wings, you know, like at midnight to all of the people that are camping out in my thing. So it became like a thing that you would get food while you were camping in my line. And then on top of that story, when I dropped the flu games, when we dropped this shoe at my shop, I delivered Sal's Pizza, pepperoni pizza, to everybody at midnight. And then come to find out, when The Last Dance came out, you know, years later, that it wasn't really the flu game shoe, it was the pizza game shoe. So I think Michael needs to know that I was delivering pizzas before I even knew the story. Well, I think we already know that, you know, number 1's the Air Trainer. You know, number 2 is going to be the Tech Challenge. Probably number 3 would be Jordan 3 silhouette, probably Cement 3. I probably would go Jordan 4 after that, and then it'd be Jordan 1, you know, and I pretty much love all the colorways. And of course, I mean, I can't forget the Dunk, you know, the Dunk SB. I love Dunk SBs, you know, that's my love, is Dunk SBs. My favorite Dunk SB at the moment, it's probably this guy here, probably the Grateful Dead or the Travis. I was pretty stoked to pick these up, you know what I'm saying? And both these guys came from my boy Jacob at the compound.
I'm Jack and I live in Auckland. "25 years. Probably anything up with the 200. The first shoe that got me started into sneakers would have been the Air Alpha Force. Back in, I believe it was 87, 88. And I had them for about 2 or 3 months. And a friend of mine borrowed them and never gave them back. And to this day, he knows who he is. That's probably my all-time favorite sneaker. Everyone knows what that is. Some people may know what these are. Bought these at SneakerCon 2010. I'd say the original price, I believe at the time, was 500. And the night before I'd been drinking, so I got to the SneakerCon really late, probably 5 in the evening. And the guy that I knew had dropped the price on these. So I ended up getting them for, I believe it was 400 or 390 or something like that. Now they're worth 2-3 grand. And those. So he was the French Air Jordan, as they labeled him. Played for the Golden State Warriors, I believe, and the Orlando Magic. I think these were the Golden State Warriors PEs at the time. The home, there's a different pair as well. There's a black pair with the blue, I believe. With these, a friend of mine had another friend that was working for the NBA as an equipment manager at the time. So I managed to get these for, I won't say the price, 112 MX. And the M1 duck coming. There you go, top 5.
My name is Adrian Daniel. I am also better known maybe as My Wife and Kicks, which is a cheesy name that I came up with for my Instagram account that hasn't left me. But full-time I work as a pastor. I also do some content creation on the side. I've been collecting sneakers since around 2011, I think. So that's what, like 9, coming up on 10 years. Yeah, so it's been a little while. I can kind of remember as a kid, like some Chet Thomas Pro Model Globes that I had. That were a big deal. I remember Nelly rapping about Air Force Ones. Wanted some but never had some. Pair of New Balance 997s. I actually received these before these actually came back out, before they were kind of retroed, so to speak. So the grey pair actually came out first, and then this navy pair came out afterwards. But yeah, they sent me this pair. They sent me 2 pairs, these and a pair of 908s, but these in particular were really, yeah, to be honest, I've hardly worn them since I got them. You know, it was massive, like, to be into a brand and then to have a connection there and be able to visit the head office, and then for them to send me a shoe that hadn't yet released. It was like, that was massive. This is the 2020 version of the 1300 JP. So it's based on the original 1300 that came out in 1985. And then it came out again for the first time on its 10-year anniversary in Japan, and as a Japanese exclusive. And I think until like 2000 or 2005 was a Japanese exclusive. And then 2010 was the first time it was like globally released, but never came here. Actually 2020, this is the first time it came to New Zealand. So it releases every 5 years based on the original pair. They've always got the kind of special bag, normally with the year on, but for whatever reason that one doesn't have the year on. But yeah, this is the pair from 2000. And the unique thing about this, they're all got kind of unique differences, but this one's got the Made in USA on the tongue, which none of the other pairs do. I'm not sure why they chose to do that. But it's really hard to narrow down 5 favorite sneakers, and these are in no particular order. I'm going to take this whole set as one. I'm going to just take some liberty here, but this one set, they're all from the same set. I'm going to take as one. They're all made in England. They're called the Flimby Pack 1300s, and I think almost like equally as good. Just the materials and the shape and everything is just amazing. Like normally people would say the 1300 JP was the best 1300, but for me these are like equally up there. And the 1300 hasn't been made in the UK for a very long time. This is the third member of the pack. They recently did like a RC 1300, which was like a new kind of hybrid sole of it, and they used this color and the brown, and then they actually did like a purple pair, which I actually have upstairs. I only actually got the purple pair, but I think for me just these is like as good as it gets, and cool to have a 1300 that's made in England. They made them in England for a while, but they haven't for a long time. These Solomons, I don't know, apparently hiking shoes are like a vibe now. So but no, just super comfortable. I kind of really like the colorway. Yeah, just a great shoe. Easy to lace up as well, so I'd put these in my top 5 right now. Reneel, if you're watching, I still have them. One of the members of the sneaker community sold these to me for like an amazing price. I bought 2 pairs from them and I still have them. I got the 998 Pool Blues, and he keeps hitting me up like, hey, if you ever sell them, I want them back, but I haven't let go of them. These are the Hanon collab, the Chosen Fuse. Just still always in my top 5. Just the combination of blues and the white hits and stuff. They're just such a good shoe. Yeah, the soles are starting to yellow, as you can see, so they've had some age. Classic grey, 997s, made in the USA. Just great. New Balance. Actually picked these up in Japan at a store called QUICKFIRE, which is in Harajuku. I actually wanted a different pair of shoes. I wanted the United Arrows 99 TV4s, I think it was. And I'd kind of shopped around and I saw those there, and I literally went to buy them. I was like, oh, I should probably try them on before I buy them. And they were too small. And I was like gutted. And so it was almost like these were like an impulse buy, but then I was like pleasantly surprised like how stoked I was with them, because I had the navy for a long time, but just something about the grey pair, they're just really good. 1300 JPs, like any one of them really. These are the JP3s, which is the 2020. So
I remember real clearly the moment that started my sneaker addiction. A friend of mine, Victor, came back from Malaysia with a pair of Air Jordan 7 Bordeaux's, and they just blew my mind. Like, I'd never seen anything like that in a sneaker. You know, until then, sneakers were white and boring, and then there's the sneaker that has colours and materials and angles and things on it I'd just never seen. So it was definitely the Air Jordan 7 Bordeaux that started that passion for me. My name's Tim Littler. I was born in Christchurch but reside in Auckland. I started collecting, seriously in January 2004. That's the first time that I bought a pair that I didn't immediately kind of put on foot and thrash. I think that's when I kind of would class myself as starting a collection. The most amount that I own at one time would be now, because pretty much the collection only goes in one direction. So I stopped counting in 2010. I used to be real diligent at keeping a spreadsheet, knowing exactly what I had. I stopped counting. There's 438 pairs then. So I've definitely slowed a lot since then, become more selective in what I get. But I would guess it's probably in the vicinity of 550 pairs. So 1985 Air Jordan 1s, they're in the original box, they've still got the original hang tag attached. Age is catching up with them a little bit with some of the leather around the collar, but considering how old they are, I think that would mean the most. If my collection was burning down and there was time to grab one pair just because of the age of it and the history of it, the significance, this would definitely be the one that I'd say from the fire. If there was any pair that I could get that I don't own, I'm a big hip hop fan, I'm a big Wu-Tang fan, so both of those Raekwon, pack of shoes, Deodoras. I don't have either pair Yeah, love them. Like, love the Only Built for Cuban Links album, the packaging of that. So yeah, the design of those shoes, the materials. Yeah, that'd be the two, if I can have two, that I'd add to the collection. First of all, the pair that started it for me. So yeah, the Air Jordan 7 Bordeaux. I couldn't get them originally. When I fell in love with the sneaker, my parents weren't happy to pay the amount of money as a kid to buy me these. So when they retroed, I made sure I bought two pairs, and yeah, because this is the sneaker that started it for me. It's definitely got to be a kind of favorite pair that I own. Similar kind of story then. This is the Reebok S. Carter. So I guess two reasons why this is a favorite pair. One is that, again, I love hip hop and all things hip hop. So whenever there's kind of a collaboration between a rapper and sneakers, it automatically piques my interest. So Jay-Z having a signature shoe as a non-athlete was something interesting. And this is the pair that I bought in 2004 that started my collection. So I purchased this from Foot Locker Queen Street, took it home, went to put it on foot, and then had that moment thinking, if I put this on ice for a year or two, it's going to be more exclusive. You're not going to see people wearing it. So it's the first sneaker that I bought that I guess turned me into a collector, if you like. I think the Air Jordan 11 for me was another one of those ones that kind of blew my mind, a bit like the Bordeaux, that just having patent leather on an athletic shoe was just something that was so new and outlandish. And I remember watching the ads with Jordan dunking the 100-foot hoop sort of thing, and obviously the movie, watching that. So I love most of the colorways, but the Space Jam probably the favorite one. This is the pair, out of all my pairs, I'm pretty sure this is the one that cost me the most money, and probably the most heartache, because this is the Air Force One Fearless Warrior. So this is out of the Chamber of Fear series that Nike did with LeBron James. They released 5 sneakers and had a whole marketing campaign around kind of like Kung Fu movies and stuff. And then the 6th sneaker was the Fearless Warrior. So it's kind of a family and friends edition. It's individually numbered. There's 523. This is, I think, the only sneaker I ever got scammed on. I bought a pair on eBay. The seller said, can I pay him by Western Union? Every fibre in my body said not to trust them. But by that stage, I already had the rest of the Chamber of Fear series, all in size 12. This was size 12. I really wanted it, so it never turned up. I got scammed, I lost my money, but I just sat patient and waited for another opportunity. Ended up, finding them in size 12. The story behind it taught me a valuable lesson. It's probably the most, I guess, exclusive or limited pair that I own. Final pair, my 5, would be just the Lightning 4. No real particular kind of story behind this one. I guess it's just a sneaker now that, almost has a bit of a cult following. It's super popular. There's always rumors year after year that it'll be retroed, and it hasn't yet transpired. I hope that does come to fruition. Crazy colorway, very, very bright. Maybe a bit of Wu-Tang vibes is another reason why it appealed to me. But yeah, the Lightning 4s definitely would complete my top 5.
My name's Johnny K. Jedwitz. I'm an original member of the BK Boys, Nomad, big part of BFNZ, and also part of the crew of Jordan Heads AU.
And I'm Johnny's better half. I'm Jamie. I'm the housekeeper, secretary. I'm originally from South Africa.
Treasury department. I was lucky enough to celebrate my 40th birthday recently, and there were like a whole heap of guys behind it. So Jamie actually organised to try and get me a pair of Fire Red 4s. So my birthday was on the exact day that they dropped, and there was no way I could line up because they just wouldn't let me. So then my birthday rolled around, and then there was this big moment, and then everyone came through, and the story was I already had a pair. I didn't need to line up, didn't need to do anything. Everything was organised.
Yep.
Shout out to Pierre, Brian, Peter, Ben, Charlie, and everyone else who was there for it. But yeah, I'm a massive 4s guy, and to have like an OG 4, well, you know, a retro OG4 is like a big thing to me. The massive effort that everyone went through just to get them for me was a monumental moment for me. Kind of brought me to tears when I was at my birthday too, but I didn't want to be a little. So I was like, oh yeah, just go around hugging everyone. But yeah, massive behind the scenes effort just to make it happen for me.
I think mine would probably be the MX1 Hub Quicks. The story behind these for me would be going to Air Max Day, my first Air Max Day.
Yeah.
And it was a Soul Central one. It was at Tom Tom's, I think, in Victoria Park. And the first time I ever met Paul Jeffcoat, Godfather, yep, was when he was selling these, and I jumped in front of, I think, Pitta, and I managed to pick these up for a massive steal. And yeah, they're just a real favourite of mine. They've got like a really good story behind it, you know, the meaning.
Yeah, how did he get Lucy's size wrong anyway?
Oh, I don't know, but I was happy he did.
Those are supposed to be for Lucy, but yeah, he got his size wrong. And
but yeah,
she couldn't fit them, and then lucky you, eh?
Yeah, lucky me. But yeah, they got a cool story behind it.
$100.
$100, yeah. You know, and it's, you know, like how the pattern came about and all that kind of stuff for me. It's just like, you know, it's got a good story, I think, from the 1906 earthquake in San Francisco, and the design on here. It's just, yeah, I just like them. They're like really cool.
I like the vault colour.
Yeah.
Love it.
Lace swap, which is cool.
Gum sole.
Yeah. Classic.
Yeah.
What you got?
Okay. So, right, yeah, top 5 Ferrari 14s, like carbon fibre, red suede, and they're comfortable too, and they just look killer on foot. You want to see one? Can't go wrong. Best one in my opinion, because that's where Jordan started. Tar heel all day. Funny story. I got these from Severe Shop Phil for 150. Yeah, or 130 bucks.
Crazy, really
DS,
good price.
yeah, cool, good price. I owe them. Yeah, if I ever come across a spare pair of Lightnings, I got you. I'll send them your way. Number 3, a shoe that took me so long to come across. It actually took me years and years, and it was this year that I got it in COVID. I got it in my size, and I'm very happy to get it. Shout out to Lawrence Tongalea, giving these up. Love you, bro. It's a mad shoe. Good quality. I've already thrashed it a couple of times too, so yeah. We'll see how long they last. Probably need a sole swap soon. And number 2. Yeah, Course 4. Good quality shoe though. You can't go wrong with this. Grey. Course knows what he's doing. I don't know about his statues, I ain't into all that, but man, that guy can design a shoe. Those 90s that he's got off the hook. Really want those too. That'd be in my top 5 if I had them, but I ain't got them. So. Going back to where it all started, that guy, I was really happy when these came out again. The 2012s with bricks, you wear them on feet, man, your feet just start hurting. But these things, I've thrashed them, worn them heaps. They still look like kind of really good, apart from the yellowing. You got to kind of appreciate the yellow, eh? Really need another pair. I'd wear these all day, every day if I could. Love them.
Number 5 would be the Bel Airs. These are probably like, you know, they're just so colourful, and they're like a fun sneaker to wear, I reckon. Number 4 for me would be these. Probably my cheapest sneaker I've ever bought. I think they were like 30 bucks in a random bin at Dressmart. My number 3 would probably be the Citrus 11 Lows. I think probably what made them even better for me was one of the first times I ever met Shay Fu, and he came up to me at the bar and he reckons, he goes, I really like your sneakers. And he told me, he's like, I wish I had those.
Oh, you fangirled out?
I fangirled out, and I was like, yes, I have those. And he, yeah, that was one of my top moments, I think, and that what, you know, made them number 3. Number 2 would be the Yeezy Zebras, I think, because they're just such a really like out there in your face, kind of ugly but comfortable. That's what I reckon, they're ugly but comfortable. My number 1 would be the Ali Alame 6s. They're just such like a really, really beautiful shoe. I didn't know I was actually getting these, which, you know, made it a bit of a surprise, but that would be, yeah, my number 1, I think.
Yo, what's good? It's your boy Main One, aka the 6th God, representing Pack Heat, originally from the mighty MA. That's Masterton if you don't know. Yeah, moved to Palmy for work. Pretty sure I've been with the group since it started. 5 pairs fave at the mo. So I'm gonna cheat and say These count as one. Jordan 1 lows and SB lows. Yep, I wear my Travis Scotts to work all the time. I wore those today actually. Yeah, 2 is going to be the Citrus 3s. Blazers, good staple shoe. I like wear this all the time. Ultra Boost, wear these all the time. So you pick 2 pairs of these up for $140 for 2 pairs. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Just wear what you like. Don't wear it to, I mean, obviously the flex is there. We all looking to wear that something that, you know, that flex, but don't do it just for the flex. But just buy and wear what you like, regardless of what anyone else thinks, you know. So, oh, there's a thing. If you like them, then wear it, man. Shout out to my Packy fans always. We on one, let's go.
Hey, Nate. How we doing?
Hey. Good, Olin. First question I got for you is, which sneakers started your sneaker addictions?
I got this Nike Zoom 5, which is the Jason Kidd one. And that's where it all started. And when you bowl with this, you know, it's like, whoa, what is that? Like, you know, because Jordan at that time is all like the same and stuff. But, you know, this was, like you said, it's so unique. This is the first time they had that mirror thing, and it's like, whoa, you know, how to have it. You know, because I grew up in a poor family, and you know, there you get your shoes for, like, you know, for a year, you only got 1 shoes.
What is the craziest sneaker-related story that you can tell me?
The one that's really memorable for me is when we did that, you know, when we got that collab party with Brian, you know, in Nike Freedom Mart. This is what I love about sneakers, though. It's you know, it's the story. You know, it's the story that goes with every sneaker. This is one of the special stories as well. So you were there, right? You were standing there,
That
right?
was my exhibition. That was a
exactly. That is your exhibition. That's like one of the iconic ones that you know, I always remember. You know, I saw your old PEs there, and you know, DJ said we walked in, and it's like, what the hell? Like, you know, that's BB8, and it's like.
Yeah, I bought those at SneakerCon in New York in December, but Olam really wanted them. He's hardcore 8 collector. I was quite confident they were 800 US, so I thought that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So we did a deal way down the scale to make it. So I like people completing their collections. I think it's pretty good.
And then he just said to me, "Do you want it?" I said, "Yeah, you know, all right then." He just took it off. He's freaking legend. He's just like, you know, one of those people that really, you know, respect about, you know, shoes and sneakers, and that's what I like about him. You know, he doesn't, you know, he's not one of those reseller ones that, you know, like, you know, he can sell you this one more than what he bought it, but he just like, mate, just pay me how much.
Pay him a price.
Yeah. Like I said to you, it's all about the stories and stuff. So this is the Louis Vuitton. The reason why I love these shoes is, like I said, it's all about the story. So on our wedding, you know, I went to Riffler and I said, oh, you know, the wife said, okay, you buy the shoes what you want, just one. I was like, okay. And, you know, lucky enough, you know, like I said, when you talk to sneakerheads and stuff, we have like that connection, and the owner is a Filipino. So I kind of like, oh, you know, I really want that something special. You know, we just married in Las Vegas, and I want something that I can bring at home, which is gonna be like one of those souvenirs and stuff. And say, okay, come with me. And he actually, you know, one of those, I don't know if you see those movies, like, you know, in the car yard, and, you know, one of those cars that's not on the showroom, and then they bring you
hiding down the back of the store.
Yeah, it's in the basement kind of thing. Yeah, and then he brought me down the room and said, oh, you know, this is those shoes that's not on display and stuff, and he just brought me out this. I was like, you know, I have to have it, And then the good thing is, like I said, it's that connection. He didn't really sell me this, you know, a price of, you know, for a kidney or a break, you know, leg and an arm. But, you know, this is one of those things that, like I said, the story that I really love. So for me, words of wisdom is just, you know, buy what you love. not because of the hype. And like I said, just be wise on how you deal with your financials, because like I said, it's good that you have the passion, but at the same time, you think about your family and stuff. It's good that Drew loves sneaker. I think I'm passing on the baton to her.
Yeah, the next generation.
She is the next generation.
I've always been into fashion. When I would travel, I had the opportunity to see sneakers that I wouldn't see here in New Zealand. I just would buy sneakers that I would love. So my name is Ufitia Sangapulutile, but you can call me Tia. I am Samoan, and I am a dancer, choreographer, and creative artist. First sneaker that I fell in love with would be Bapesters. I just love the colorway. I also love how it's similar to Air Forces but different. The reason why I also fell in love with it is because I saw Chris Brown wearing them back in the day, so yeah. This is one of my favorite top 5 sneakers that I own, which are the Adidas Young One Freezers. And I grew up watching Dragon Ball Z with my brothers, so I have 4 brothers and I'm the only girl. So yeah, I really love the colorway. Purple and pink are my 2 favorite colors as well. And when I worked at Adidas, I had the opportunity to get them. So I was super stoked. So yeah, and they're really comfortable. These are my favorite colorway with the ones, the court purple, because I love purple. I just love that I can pair them with outfits that I like. My black and white Dunk Lows, I love that I'm able to pair it with anything because it, black and white goes with anything. I really love my Sakai's. I love the colors. I love how the detailing, how it has 2 ticks and the back here, which is I feel is real unique. And they're super comfy, and I know it's hard to get as well. So I love the Bapesters. I really want the camo, but for now, I'm really happy that I got this pair, which is my 3rd. It just means more to me because I was able to get them overseas. The feeling of dancing in front of a lot of people, you get that adrenaline rush and the excitement that you want to do it again. And that's the feeling that I got when I got the Bapesters, that accomplishment and then oh, what's another pair that I can get? And that's kind of what got me into wanting to collect more sneakers.
When I was a kid, there was a movie called Like Mike, featured Lil Bow Wow, who played Calvin Cambridge. He found a pair of shoes that were some mid-blazer in a white silhouette and a blue swoosh. In the tongue, they were initialed MJ. That was the first sneaker that stuck with me in my head, and probably what started my addiction to shoes, definitely. I love something clean and simple. Kia ora, my name is Jessie Hemera. I grew up in Whangarei, which if you've ever been to Whangarei, the sneaker options up there, the stores definitely, they're very limited. When I left, they opened a store called War and Peace, and the owner there is a real OG collector. Every time I visit and go talk to him, he has a few of his collection in there as well. So he had some infrared 6s, Concord 11s, undefeated Bape superstars. There's this little section of sneakers, so I thought that was dope, especially for Whangarei, because I grew up, there was no awareness around the culture, so him being able to show awareness to Whangarei as well, as it's a little town, so I thought that was really dope. So 2018, I had around 89 pairs. That was the most I had at one point. Unfortunately, beginning of 2019, someone robbed our house, so a lot of my MX1s, Prestos, a lot of shoes that meant a lot to me, they're all gone. So some suckers got them. Yeah, it's taken me about a year to finally build up that collection again. MX1 OG Reds. So it took me a while to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And looking back at that shoe, I always thought I was a creative person, and Tinker in that process as well. He's definitely one of my biggest inspirations. So my goal is to become a sneaker designer, and if Tinker can put an Air Max unit in a running shoe and people call him crazy or that it's going to flop, then I can definitely work hard to my goals and achieve what I want. So definitely my MX1 OG Reds, yeah. My top 5, I'll start with the Varsity Maze. So my number 1 grail is the Wu-Tangs. This is the closest I'm ever going to get to them. So I ended my year on these, 2020. Really happy with the quality as well. Black and yellow, yeah, that's dope. I grew up on a lot of Wu-Tang. It's something that's in my household. My brother and my mum were always listening to it. So I watched a lot of Fresh Prince when I was a kid. So these are definitely in there. When I was a kid, I was a huge fan of Chris Brown. And there was a collaboration piece that he did with Sesame Street. And him and Elmo would sing a song called See the Signs. He was wearing these. And 2019, they released the lows. And I finally, from then on, the Brazil Dunks, I never knew what these were called. When they released those lows, I was like, okay, they're called the Brazil Dunk highs. So obviously, Witherspoons, I love an MX1 Soul, corduroy, colorful as well. I love the Velcro removal swoosh, so these are dope. I've been wanting these. I got these last year. I've been wanting these for a while, so I'm really happy to have these. Chicago ones, I copped these before Last Dance came out, so I was happy to get them for a really cheap price. So yeah, so I copped these through Soul Central and wear them a lot. So in sneaker culture, there definitely isn't much female influence that I've seen. So Casey Hunt is someone that I look up to. Like, her collection's mean. She has her own locker for it. So definitely Casey Hunt. Yeah. So I've never actually met her. But we follow each other on Instagram, so we keep up to date with sneakers that are coming out. There's a lot of chitter chatter between us, so yeah, we've got a passion for the same thing, so that's dope. Yeah.
I've been collecting since 2000, so pretty much as soon as I left high school and hit uni and was able to get a job, I was trying to buy shoes, pretty much. I'm Casey Hunt. I'm from Auckland. Spent a lot of time in Wellington though through uni, sneaker stomping through there. I work at Westpac. I'm the housing product manager for the team. The Jordan Aqua 8 was definitely a standout for me. I was an intermediate. It was 1993. I'm a Hawke's Bay kid, 80s, 90s kid. We had a Sports World in Taradale. They had in at the time the Aqua 8 in the white and the black. He had it up on the wall. I just would get on my BMX and peer through the window and look at these 2 pairs of shoes. It was just, I'd been past here many times, but that stood out to me. I've had a single mother, you know, only child, and we just couldn't afford those. It definitely weighed on me that, hey, one day I want to get those shoes, and that's definitely what started the drive for me around shoes, for sure. Pretty crazy story. So probably around 2001, I bought the BC3s, so black cement 3s. And I rocked them to death. I wore them to uni, loved them. And then pretty much around 2014, I think I was planning to move here and needed to offload stuff. Well, I'd just come across Soul Central on Facebook page anyway, and one of the first posts I ever put was, hey, I'm selling these shoes. What do you guys think I should sell them for? So a lot of people came back and said, oh, you know, hey Casey, you should sell those for 200, and off I went and sold them for 200. And because I just needed the money at the time. And then looking back, I thought, oh, you know, why did I sell those shoes? Why did I sell those shoes? It was like one of the first pickups that I ever bought. Somehow I came across the guy that bought them again recently, and I said to them, hey, you know, I sold these shoes to you about 7 years ago, 6.5 years ago. Do you still have them? Pretty much he sent me back a picture and was like, here they are. So big ups to Charles Francis, who let me buy them back for exactly what I sold them to him for. I've got them back. They're even more beat than they were, and I love them. Definitely top on the list of my most favourite shoe and most important shoe to me. Okay, yeah, so number one for me is, we've already heard about, is the BC3. So this is my beat up 2001 black cements. Yeah, this will be one of the first, oh, here we are, it's crumbling already. One of the first purchases that I ever got with my own cash, really. And when I was at uni, to make it work, I worked 2 jobs. So I worked at McDonald's as a manager there pretty much every night. And then I also worked at a call centre collecting for the blind as well. So any extra money I'd save up and then rock down to Wellington Foot Locker, and yeah, this is one of the originals. So I sold them on Soul Central, recommended for 200 bucks, and I got these guys back recently for 200, so, and I won't be letting them go again. Yeah, so another one on the list, is definitely for me, the 1993 situation with me where I just couldn't get them. I would have been 11 at the time, is the Jordan Aqua 8. It's just beautiful. I have this 3 times over. I've got an earlier release, but this is one I could just grab out of the storage unit pretty easily. It's just beautiful. And I just love the way too that people rock this shoe. Sometimes they, you know, unrelease the straps and have them open. Just a lovely shoe. You can wear it with everything. Yeah, cool. So another favourite for me is definitely Reebok pump. You know, to be fair, Omni lights, Omni pumps, Twilight Zones. I just love pumps. And it does come back to a little bit of nostalgia for me. This is why you sort of want to come back and buy back your memories as well. So that's what it's all about. When I was 3rd form, my stepfather had a lot younger brother, and he was at the age that his parents were buying him these shoes, and I would get anything that he didn't want anymore. And the first thing he ever gave me was a pair of Reebok Omni pumps, and had the blue and the yellow. And I wore them in 3rd form. They were far too big for me, but I wore them every day whenever I could, until the sole crumbled out and this piece here came out of the shoe. So whenever there's a pump, I'll grab it. I have a lot of them. It's just beautiful to wear, and well, you obviously pump it up and release, and it's just cool. Yeezy, I have to represent the old Yeezy, so shout out to Kanye for everything he's done, really, for just sneaker culture in general. But top for me, for him, is definitely the Wave Runner. As soon as I saw anyone rocking this, I just wanted it so bad. I like it so much. I've got it 3 times over as well. I've got a beat up pair, and I'm just about to move into another pair, and this is the pair that's on ice. I love the Quantum as well, so it wouldn't be me if I didn't bring out one Yeezy, but this is definitely the top favourite for me out of anything he's done with Adidas. Lucky last, but definitely not least, this is my favourite pickup, or best pickup for 2020 as well. And I wanted these from the moment I saw them, but it was just so hard to get at. Don't think I'll ever be able to see myself rock them, just because I just don't want to get them dirty. But it would have to be the Chunky Dunky. So SP, I've got a lot of SBs as well, but this is definitely the top on my list. It would be my all-time favourite. But yeah, this is just the workmanship they put into it as well with the cowhide is just really awesome. It's the most I've ever spent on a shoe, ever. I'm really big into just buying at retail. I just don't get into that vibe, but I wanted these so badly.
Kia ora. My name's Jacinta Konza. I've been in Soul Central, what was otherwise known as NZ Sneakerheads, kind of since its inception, since we were lining up for Yeezys on High Street. I'm from Auckland. I'm pretty much always in like a baggy tee and shorts. Don't really wear shoes very often now that I live on the Sunshine Coast, because I'm always at the beach. I do kind of miss it though. I definitely miss the chase and the fun and the community of the sneaker culture. And I feel like the Jordan game kind of goes in waves of like 10 years almost. I feel like it was at its peak, like when I started kind of collecting 10 years ago, and then it dropped off a little bit, the hype got too real, and then now with you know, the Netflix series coming out and everything, with the Jordan hype, everyone's kind of back on. At least that's something that I've noticed with especially with female sneaker trends here at the minute. The Jordan 1s are where it's at. My favourite pair of J's would just have to be my first pair. These are them. They've seen better days. They really need a sole swap, but I don't wear them anymore. They just kind of like stay with me wherever I go. But yeah, these are my babies. I'm kind of more into like gone back to my roots of like wearing Converse a lot and common projects. Like my common projects, I sold a lot of my Jordans to buy a pair of common projects, and they're kind of my go-tos. I'm more of like a simplistic kind of style. My words of wisdom for sneaker collectors would be, don't sell like your favorite pair of shoes. The money is probably not going to be worth what they will have sentimental value in. I've definitely done that with a few pairs that I really loved, just to get the next pair at the time or pay rent, which is important. But yeah, money comes and goes, but sentimental value definitely stays. One thing that I feel like has like eternally kept me connected to the sneaker culture over the last 10 years has been this book that I've been harping on about for years, and it finally came to fruition last year. It's like most of the crew like in the group will know about this bad boy, but I thought I'd do a little official unwrapping of this. I've made this book in uni, and I remember posting it on the NZ Sneakerheads page and everyone going wild about it. But it was just a one-off kind of bookbinding project. Anyway, fast forward 10 years, failed collaboration with Sneaker Freaker magazine, who totally did me dirty, but that's another story for another day. Got an opportunity to collaborate with a Brooklyn-based streetwear kids company called We Are Little Giants, who are dope, and they've just started stocking in Complex store as well. But basically, this is what's going to help the next generation. Pretty self-explanatory. Learn how to count using the J's, the classics. Hopefully coming to a store near you soon.
Hi, my name is Eve, currently in Los Angeles. I've been in Seoul Central, New Zealand Sneakerhead since 2013. Honestly, haven't found a sneaker community that is so connected and like willing to help each other out. And I moved to Sydney, and I did join like a sneakerhead group, but it wasn't like a community like, you know, New Zealand Sneakerhead. Then I stayed in Brisbane, started my own creative agency, and then I moved to LA, where I started LA office. Getting sneakers here are very easy for people that are well connected, but not very easy for just, you know, everyday humans like myself. I haven't, you know, managed to actually purchase a lot of pairs this year. I probably only managed to cop probably like 8 or 9. These ones here, the mockers, I managed to get these ones off StockX. I actually entered 4 raffles and just got L's for all of them. Off StockX as well. I love these, I love the color, I love the green and the black. I love the cut of the shoes, I love the shape because it reminds me of, what's that shoe called back in the day? Those female skate shoes, Gallas. My favorite pair out of all of them Yep. Don't buy shoes just to be cool. Buy shoes that you actually love and not what other people think is cool. Don't spend more than what you earn. You're cool without sneakers. Like, you don't need to buy every single shoe at once to be a sneakerhead. But yeah, that's some wisdom for ya. Peace.
I can't answer that. There's so many good artists.
660. They sound beautiful. We listen to them all the time.
Ooh, Kiwi music. Okay, I'm gonna be very biased and say my brother, he's a rapper. So his name is Mariko and he's in a group called Decepticons because, you know, that's so iconic from South Auckland and like took it to America and the world. I'm gonna say Mariko and Decepticons.
The greatest QUICKFIRE of all time would be Shay.
Shifu, hey, he's the man, you know what I mean?
Oh, come on, that's easy. Shea Fu, bro. All day long, man.
I'll probably say Shea Fu. I actually met him when I was about 11 or 12, and when he was still in Super Groove. As a kid, I went in and interviewed him for our school paper, and I followed and supported his career ever since. And he went through that transition to a solo artist and was more of a hip-hop vibe. Love it.
Shay, you the man. Love that, dude.
He's such a
love going to shows and stuff, and then he chucks your name into like the freestyles.
Yeah, he's
Trying to
just such
film
a
it and
really
stuff.
like laid back, you know, down to earth.
Yeah.
He's always like, you got time for you. He remembers my name every time I see him. I'm always like, oh.
Yeah,
You know, fangirl outfit,
stuff.
yeah. But yeah, he's.
In my opinion, yeah, and he's still doing his thing to this day. Yeah. How long ago was Change released?
I grew up on Shea Fu. To be specific, was something that was always in my household. I love Shea Fu. I've seen him so many times live, and when I attended the Pack Heat event, he was there, and I was like, yo, that's Shea Fu. Like, he's right there. Shea Fu's dope. Yeah.
So I've been collecting for a long time, since '89, I'd have to say. '88 was the first sort of year I got the court forces, but really it was when I got the bread fours that really sort of said to me, yo, I think I'm gonna ride this one. And yeah, '89 up until now, so that's like 30 plus years. The most sneakers I've ever had at one time, we're looking at maybe just under 200 or something like that. I've got 4 sons, and my 2 oldest ones are the same size as me now, so the collection has depleted somewhat since their arrival to this cave here. Yeah. Kia ora te whānau, ko ngā te raukaua te iwi me motolau no Tamaki Makoto e no hana ko Shea taku ingoa. The shoe that really kicked it off for me were the Nike Court Force, is what they were called. They were blue and white. I bought those when I was 4th form at high school. And the reason why they kicked it off for me, I guess, was because, I mean, I never really cared for sneakers up until that point, but I just started playing basketball, and that whole sort of basketball fashion thing was really popular in my school. And the thing that really sort of, that was different this time compared to other shoes that I bought was that when I wore them to school, all my schoolmates were like, yo, that's really cool, man, that's really cool. And so that was the first time it dawned on me that people kind of liked cool sneakers, and I guess that's what started the journey. And then after that, I'd have to say it was the next year after with the Bread 4s, the Air Jordan Bread 4s, and we called them 89s because of the year. I got a lot of sneakers that I sort of cherish, but for personal reasons. But the one that I sort of dig the most personally would be my LeBron Dunkman 7s. The reason why I like these guys, because my younger brother copped these for me from Flight Club in New York, and I hadn't been there yet. And so when these arrived, I was like, wow, Flight Club does exist. And I was like, yo, there was a crazy cop. And so my younger brother, yeah, he bought these for me, so it's pretty special. I like the old the Dunk Man on the bottom there. Yeah, and the 7's always been a cool silhouette out of the bronze. I'm not like the biggest bronze guy, but yeah, I love this silhouette. Man, okay, the sneaker that I really dig that I never got to have or get my dirty mitts on was the Air Force 5s. But the Air Force 5s, as we knew it, were in the form of the David Robinsons, and that's how we knew them. They were the David Robinsons, and so this is when we were playing basketball quite a lot. And I just love the simple silhouette of it. Hopefully you'll put up a shot of it now. Here are 5 of my favorite sneakers that I have currently. There's these guys here, the Doran Becker 6s. They're kind of old nowadays, but they are, I guess, an old sneaker. Yeah, if you don't know about the Doran Becker charity, it's a hospital, a children's hospital in Oregon, and the Nike camp sort of like to do a collab with some of the patients there, and they get to choose a silhouette and get to design whatever they want on it. And so this was the year that they had the 6, Jordan Beck 6s. I guess if there was ever a grail, if I ever had a grail, my one and only grail, I'm one of those guys that don't have 50 grails. I'm not really into that. I did have a grail, and I did have an opportunity to cop them. It's the Black Laser 4s. Yeah, when they dropped, because I'm a 4s guy, I'm a traditionally a bred 4s guy, and I didn't really sort of fiend on them until I guess I saw a lot of rappers wearing them, and then I was like, yo, and I never thought I'd have the opportunity to cop some, but luckily enough, I got to grab these off eBay, and they came in really good condition. They're a little beat now, obviously I like to rock my sneakers, but yeah, these are the Black Laser 4s. This one's a classic for me. These are the 89 Flights, the black colorway, so these were really popular when I was at school. So to be able to get a pair of these dead stock, I got these off the homie Jackie Blanco. Thanks, Oos. And actually got another pair over there. And so yeah, I like the 89 Flights silhouette. Obviously, it's got the hint of the Air Jordan 4s, of course. But this colorway is mad clean and reminds me of my high school days. There's another pair that I really dig. The Dawnbreaker 3s. I really dig these. These are really cool. These are a bit beat. I've got another pair somewhere, a little bit more cleaner. Bin 13s. Come in these cool little shoe bags. Yeah. They have the ostrich leather and the premium, I don't know what you'd call it, suede, I guess. They got these funky little shoe trees. And so these were a cop from the homie DJ Severe, my man Phil. He grabbed these for me for retail, which was crazy. I like that too. They got a little sort of wax emblem on the tongue there. So yeah, the quality is crazy. And it was the first time I ever seen such quality materials on a sneaker. Yeah, Bin 13s.
I think for me, it's DJ Serbia. I know Brian has a massive collection too. He's very passionate about his shoes. But for me, the reason why I get some connection with Phil is the way he talks about the sneakers.
Oh, Philip Bell. Yeah, hands down, he's the master.
I'm gonna say DJ Severe, just from observation, and I've seen that he has a huge collection. And I think it's cool because he's like in the music industry and big sneaker collector. So yeah, I'm gonna say him.
You got to give it up to Severe. Phil's a man. He's been doing it for so long that he's giving away samples.
Yeah, man, and when you go to Pack Heat and stuff like that, he's selling his stuff for crazy.
He's trying to bring in that culture
actual swap meet.
Actual swap meet prices.
I remember when we went to the last one and he was
But yeah, he's had heaps of shoes. I picked them up cheap as. I got Harvard Blues for like $30.
Yeah.
And that I liked how he tried to bring that culture into New Zealand, but it kind of caught on, but the whole reselling thing just went out the game. But yeah, he's every time the kids see him, he's really nice to them.
Yeah.
My son went to go try to buy one shirt. He ended up walking away with 3 for like $10. He's such a good guy, and he's good for the culture too. He's moved a lot of things on, like music, yeah, sneakers. Now it's card collecting. He's got that new page out there if you want to look out. He's the man. Yeah, he's actually made the whole movement for sneakers. Just he is New Zealand sneakers, pretty much. You got to give it up for him.
I'd say DJ Severe. Yeah, been around a long time, knows his stuff. Massive collection. I remember being on the Nike Talk forums, in the 2004, 2005, and he was on that, and just he was then sharing his 45 Space Jams, and people around the world are losing their mind about them. It was cool that that's someone from from our neck of the woods. So yeah, I definitely say DJ Severe.
I'd have to say DJ Severe, eh? And I actually miss his posts on Soul Central. He used to like put a whole lot of posts about his trips. I think he's got a mad collection. Not that we've seen it all, to be fair. The stories that he has as well. Please go back on Soul Central and post more, mate. I just love it. He put up a post once saying, oh, you know, if you want to get these shoes, don't pay reseller price or something like that. You know, pay for a cheap ticket to go to LA. I know we can't do that now with COVID, but get over there and experience sneaker culture and buy these, you know, you might be able to buy 10 or so shoes for what you're doing here. And I actually did that based off what he was saying, you know, at the time, sort of about 5-6 years ago. We try to go back to LA, you know, now every 12 months, not weekend now. And just the breadth of that's opened up to me with sneaker culture and just culture in general has been awesome, and the experiences I've had. Hands down him, I think he gives back a lot too, and just at all these sneaker events when he's selling his shoes, if you go to his area and you have a look at what he's selling them for mad prices, like $100, and he's got 50 or so that he's selling on the day, so definitely him.
My name is Philip Bell. Lots of people know me as DJ Severe. I'm of Tuwhare Toa descent, which is in the Waikato, so I'm a pretty hardcore Hamilton person. What do I do? I'm a DJ. I work for DJ companies. I work for MyFM, did some publishing. Anything to do with music is basically what I do. And I include sneakers and music because they're connected. I used to go to a country primary school with my sister. They used to bus us out there, then they bus us back, and then afterwards, on Fridays, we'd get bused back to Papakura, which is in South Auckland, at the YMCA, and then I would play basketball every Friday night. So this is when I'm like 9 years old, 8 years old, and I'm just basketball, and my sister was really good. She was actually a really good basketball player. So she started to get into the rep teams, so I would just spend all my time at the gym playing basketball. Every waking moment I was at the gym as a kid playing basketball. So at the gym, there was these big posters on the wall and it had these NBA players on them. Old school as hell, like I don't even know where they got them from. And that started to register with me. So as I just got a little bit older, the NBA became of interest to me because it just did. So I started to engage with basketball on the American level through magazines at the shops. So I go to the magazine shop in Papakura at Roselands and then just stare at the magazines, and then I would go, oh, okay, so these are these players. This is pre-Michael Jordan. They would play this program on the weekend that had a wrap-up of the league, of the NBA league, and it'd have half a game. A wrap-up of the league and half a game. And so I decided that the Chicago Bulls were the team for me. I decided that really, really early on because I liked the logo and I liked the colors. That's it. This is the year before Jordan turned up. So I used to read all these magazines, had a deep knowledge of basketball already. And then in the magazine, you could join these fan clubs with the team. So I joined the Bulls fan club the year before Jordan turned up. And I didn't know what I was going to get. I didn't know what I was doing. I just sent the money away. And then by the third year is when, then he got injured. And then the third year was when Michael Mania hit. So I got Michael Jordan Mania in the third year. Playing basketball in the gym in Papakura as a kid to the third year that, you know, that the sneakers really became a thing. By the Jordan 4, I was all in. Had no money, but I was all in. And by the Jordan 5, I started to meet people who were also all in. So this is when they were dropping too. This is not like retrospectively, like at that time. There's this one kid, Milton, who had a pair of Jordan 5 Rare 5s that killed me, man. To this day, I still remember the time our mothers were friends and he said, oh, I've got a pair of Jordan 5 Rare 5s. So I was like, 5 Rare, what does that even mean? Like, I was still growing, you know, when you first get into something. It's like, it's on the box, it's the color. So I lived in Papakura, he lived in the city. So somehow I managed to get a bus into the city, went into his house, and I was just like, oh my God, 5 Rare 5s. Oh man, that was too much. By that point, that was it. That was the moment where I switched. But by that point, I still didn't have much money, so it was kind of like, you know, 1 or 2 pairs a year, maybe at the most. That's how it started for me, yeah. I don't know, maybe maybe at some point I had 750, maybe. There was one point where I was just completely out of control, and I think I would have pushed 750 at some point. The one pair of sneakers that I have that mean the most to me is the Jordan Taxi 12. The story goes like this. I went to see Jordan play in person multiple times, but the first time I walked in the stadium, Jordan used to warm up before the stadium opened, then he would go back to the locker room and then the rest of the team would warm up. So when you turned up into the stadium, you wouldn't catch him because it was too much mania for the team. So they would go, all the team go out, Michael would come out, then Michael goes back in the club room, and then he'd come back out for the game warm-ups just before the game. That's what I understood anyway. So I got there so early, my face was pushing up against the door, you know, I was the first guy there. Get in the stadium, and I actually saw him put up a couple of shots before he went back out, and he was wearing steel 10s, which blew my mind because I heard a couple of things. The first is that he hated the shoe. That's what I heard. Secondly, I kind of heard that he put the shoes on and that was it. In this instance, I know for a fact that he changed them because he had them on. Maybe it was just a random day. Anyway, first time I laid eyes on Jordan, he's wearing steel 10s. He goes out and then he runs out with the team later. He's wearing Taxi 12s, and in the game he wore Taxi 12s. So he played Cleveland in those shoes, and that's, you know, so the Taxi 12s I have, you know, I mean, I love the 10 because I love the 10. I don't know why, I just kind of love it. But the Taxi 12, that black and white one, that's it, man. That's ground zero for me.
Yeah, that's a funny question, that one, because any sneakerheads, if you say, hey, I camped out overnight or I camped over 2 days, that's sort of like, okay, well that's just normal. But any of my friends, I'm the only one that's a sneakerhead in my group of friends, and they think it's absolutely crazy that I sleep overnight for any shoe. One time, one of the Yeezy releases came out down at NZSH Britomart, and you had to fill in for the raffle. So I pretty much went running around my floor where I work at Westpac, and were begging anyone to pretty much enter in the raffle for me, which they did. I had probably about 35 people enter in for me in this raffle. And I only won one time. It wasn't me, it was one of my colleagues, but it was one of the most craziest things because they just couldn't believe it that I was, you know, running around asking them to do it. But yeah, I got the pair, so anything for a shoe.
I can only think of doing one lineup. That was for the Sabotage Dunk SBs that was outloaded, and I only lined up for those because a friend in New York really wanted them. So probably the craziest thing I've done for sneakers is probably just the amount of time and money that I've put into it. Having the number that I do, I've got to rent a storage unit to keep them, so most people find it pretty crazy to be paying money for a storage unit just to store sneakers that I don't wear most of the time.
In my opinion, it's not crazy, but I do call in sick sometimes for work to cop sneakers. I'm sure my managers already are aware that I do that, but yeah.
I was on a family trip to South Africa, and was obviously like, wherever you go you want to do some sneaker hunting, right? But South Africa, at that point, like, you couldn't really find anything on Google, couldn't find stores, so I ended up like just emailing New Balance themselves, and it's like, hey, I know you've got this store, which is cool, but do you have any other stores like this? Because I'm just interested. And they ended up like, I think I emailed them off like my iPhone Gmail, and so they checked out my blog and stuff, and long story short, they reached out to me again. It was like, hey, did you get sorted? Like, love to invite you to come check out the head office, and we've got something for you. So like, ended up going to the New Balance head office in Cape Town. Ended up meeting some of the team there. They gifted me a pair of shoes and a hat, and they showed me like a sample of a pair that they had coming out, which was a collab pair with a store called Shelf Life. So the one and only New Balance collab that South Africa has had. And then to like, so that was like, who does that? You know, like, just invites a random person that's traveling, gives them a pair of shoes. And then later on, I end up getting gifted the same collab from New Balance here, which is like, it was crazy. It was kind of that adds kind of different layer to the story. So that's a crazy story. And then another crazy story is I traveled to Japan a couple of years ago, back when you could, you know, get on a plane and fly to places. I found someone from New Balance Japan on Instagram, just DM'd him like, hey, I'm coming, is there any chance like I could come visit the head office? Like, you know, why not, give it a go. This guy called Tetsuya, who's like kind of later, I knew, but I didn't know that he's like a really big deal at New Balance, like really big deal. And so he ends up DMing me back and is like, yeah, you can come, like what would you like to see? And I was like, oh, you know, like if you guys got an archive, that'd be cool, or like whatever. And so I ended up like arriving there. And then like after I DM'd him, I kind of ended up like looking at some of my New Balance books, and like I saw him like in pretty much every New Balance book. And then I was kind of like a little bit embarrassed that I DM'd him, because I'm like, this dude's a big deal, and like now I look like a bit of an idiot, but not really. So I ended up going over, and then like I get there and he's like brought all these archive pieces out. He's brought like an original pair of like 1300 from 1985, and he's brought all these like his New Balance collectibles. Like just ends up showing me all these insane things, and just had some really cool conversation with him. I was able to talk, like he was a big part in like 1300, like recent like retro, the JP retros and stuff, and was able to talk through details of the shoe with him, and like little tidbit stories that only New Balance geeks would be into. So that was a moment. That was really cool.
Man, the craziest thing that I've ever done to cop a pair of sneakers is that one of the homies in the sneaker community, a cat named James Hutana, he had a music project that he was doing. Basically, he was writing a rap song, and he asked me if I'd provide him a hook for it. And I said, yeah, man, no doubt, because I dig the dude, I like his music. Plus, we're also good friends in the sneaker community. And when it came to discussing on how we were going to deal with, you know, the payment for doing the track, I knew that he had a pair of sneakers that I've been after for a minute, and they're really hard to find, really rare. And I was like, bro, like sell me them sneakers, man, and I'm in it. He said, well, how about I pay you with the sneakers? And I was like, bet. My Clark Kent Air Max 1s. So I wrote a hook for these guys here. Yeah. So DJ Clark Kent is huge in the sneaker community. What people probably might not know as much is that he's really big in the music community. In particular, he was part of Jay-Z's camp and wrote a couple of records for him, I think. And he was huge in the DJ community in terms of turntablism. And so he helped put together a festival called the NMS mid 80s to late 80s. And that was one of the first premier DJ competitions. And so this is all, I guess, before the DMC, which everybody might know a little bit better or more of in terms of DJ comps. And so for me, that was mad legend. And it's these types of little stories that I guess sort of make a shoe a little bit more special. And so these are these guys. Yeah, MX, Clark Kent's. I got these for singing.
Back in the day, Foot Locker used to have these conferences in Australia, and then they would fly me over to DJ at them because I was pretty good friends with the Foot Locker guys. I was in really good with the Nike guys, so they would fly me over there. So I flew over to Gold Coast a couple of times, and Gentry was there because Gentry was the global head of Jordan brand. So he would fly in and tell everyone about the new product. It's Gentry, right? So I started hanging out with Gentry a little bit, you know, like we played golf one day when I was there, we were just hanging out, and then I kind of forged a relationship with this guy. But, you know, I truly don't believe that anyone's got a sneaker collection like him. You know, I mean, Perfect Pair's got some amazing kicks. I don't think anyone's got kicks like Gentry, because he sent me some pictures like, I don't even know what I'm looking at, you know, and then in the background there's 10 other pairs, like what am I looking at? Because he's got all the samples, he's got all the player exclusives, he's got all the stuff. It's amazing to hang out with a guy like that. And then also, you know, when we're in Gold Coast, he'd take a call from Michael Jordan. So he's like sitting over there and he's just talking to Michael. Like, oh my God. So to me, as a bit of a fanboy of Michael Jordan, as I explained, you know, I was raised watching him play. and then to be collecting his shoes, and then to be like hanging out with this dude. So he came back to New Zealand and we took him out, we hung out with him. So that was to me, that was personally pretty crazy. What we did, we went to San Francisco on a bit of a trip. So I reached out to Gentry, and Gentry's like, come to the Nike campus. So we went to the Nike campus and did a full tour around the Nike campus. And you know, like, it's crazy to watch the Drake video now, because I've totally been everywhere in that. When I look at that video, like, I've been to every single place in that spot. Like, I've went into that basketball court, that football field, I remember DT running across it. There's basketball outdoor courts been there, there's beach volleyball court, there's such. That, to me, coming from Hamilton, living in Papakura as a small kid, to be in that place, it was just mind-blowing, man. I got a photo of me outside the Michael Jordan building in the Nike campus to this day. That absolutely blows my mind. The other thing is, I met Jumpman Bostic online. I just chatted to him because he's such a cool guy, and he's got an amazing story as a person. And then I just forged this relationship with him. Thought he was pretty awesome, and then out of nowhere, I just like, I'll go to Detroit and see him, because I do go to America quite a lot for work, and I enjoy going there for a multitude of reasons. So, because Detroit, my last time in Detroit was many years ago. That place is gangster, bro. Like, it is actually, you know, it's pretty full on. It's changed now, but for me to just go, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to Detroit, see this guy I've never actually physically met, go to his basement of the Jays. So yeah, I just did it, and that was to be in Detroit, for him to pick me up at the airport, go to his house, sit in the basement of Jays for a bunch of hours, just talk kicks, just realize this dude and I are so similar. But what I went there for was because I thought that his collection was so amazing, I wanted to contribute to it. So I've been up there twice now to Detroit to see Jumpman, and gave him 2 pairs. Because Gentry from Jordan gave me a pair of Quentin Richardson 2s, PE player exclusive, so I gave them to him because I just felt like that was just the right thing to do. And then I went up there again, and then Gentry sent me a pair of wear test. So the ones that they make them, they hand make them, and then they get people to play in them and see what's wrong with them, what's right with them. I gave him those. Because he's a pretty humble dude. Like, people look at Jumpman Bostic and they think that he gets given everything. Nah, he buys everything. He's got no endorsements at all, so I felt like it's just real cool to add to that.
My mom, you know, she's a retailer and she sells shoes, so she always told me to sell shoes. So I think the craziest thing was living my dream of building a shoe room one day. So not super crazy, but kind of cool.
So when I went to New York for the first time, there's a sneaker store in Brooklyn that I went to. And at the time I was wearing a David Tours t-shirt. So I was in Vegas the day before. And so my beard at the time looked sort of like how in the picture. And so the guy behind the counter, and I told him, so he thought I was Boxer. So he thought that I was David Tour because of the t-shirt, and he decided to give me a massive discount on these. I got them for $150, so that's a crazy story. If I could wear one pair of shoes for the rest of my life every day, it would be these.
So if I had to rock one pair of sneakers for the rest of my life, they would be the Bred 4s, the 89s, yeah. Preferably with a Nike on the back. But hey, either way I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna have it. Bred 4s.
If it's regardless of colorway, it would be the Air Jordan 4. Like, when I first started collecting Jordans, the 4 probably wasn't the one that stood out for me, but as time's gone on, I feel like it's kind of the perfect shoe. The design doesn't really seem to date. It looks good with whatever you're wearing. Yeah, I think if I could only ever wear one sneaker again for the rest of my life, and it was the Air Jordan 4, I would be happy with that.
White on white Air Force 1 low. Actually, yeah, because I crashed those. Yeah.
I think mine probably be the Jordan 2, the low. He actually got me a pair over in Australia, and they look kind of weird for a Jordan. They kind of look like a skate shoe because they're kind of like real chunky and wide. And I put them on, and it was like the best thing ever.
Oh, the man.
Like thrash. Are they still like? I still reckon
still
they're still good.
Yeah.
But at like the bottom of the sole, it's starting to crumble underneath, and those shoes will probably be the number one for me to wear all the time
You
because
need another pair.
yeah.
Size 7.
Size 7, anyone if you've got a pair, because I really need another pair.
I already put the call out everywhere for those shoes.
But yeah,
they ain't coming back. That's it. It's over.
they're comfortable, and red, white and black, you can't go wrong with those colours, I think. And they just look really good with anything.
Babesters, period. Yeah, I would wear Babesters like that's it.
Yeah, 1300 JPs, same pair. Just easy to wear, like love the colorway, super comfortable.
I definitely want something that's comfortable, that's Nike, and that's breathable as well, so a sock dart. I love sock darts, and I hope to see some come through retailers soon because those are the most comfortable Nike shoe that I've personally worn.
The Vans Skate High, I wear them pretty much, there's not a week I wouldn't have them on, so like every Saturday I've always got my Vans Skate High. I camp in every time in my Vans Skate High, they're just so comfortable. The more you wear them, the better they look. And it's so funny because really anything that I thought of when this question came up, it was just those classics. You know, Chuck Taylor 70s, Converse, anything like that. You can't go wrong, but yeah, hands down is that.
Boom. It's the Air Trainer 1. I know it's repetitive, but that's my shoe. I love it. It's a great silhouette. It goes with everything. It's super comfy, and it's totally underrated. This shoe is so underrated.
I didn't even know how I ended up in Big Four. Glad I did though. Yeah, that's my fam. Why joined in? I think it was just like a banter group at first. Wow, that's what I thought it was.
It's inclusive, so like they don't look down on anyone, and you know the kids come along, the kids have fun. And we go do some really, really crazy events and stuff like that. You know,
They've
like
spun off a lot of other things too. Like there's another group that's come off it. There's a health as well group. Yeah, and they've got like just weight loss challenges and all that kind of stuff. Big ups to my man Charles that's lost like 55 kilos or something. Eh? The man's he's done well. He was big back then, but he looks more menacing now. Eh?
Yeah, I think Bigfoot's more like
it's like
family really.
It's really hard to explain. If you try to explain it to someone that doesn't know what it is, it's kind of like a positivity group. There's a whole lot of man love going on in there that's a bit too man lovish, you know. But yeah, yo, love all.
For me, because I fell into a collection really, like I didn't really like sneakers, and I started collecting sneakers off him. He'd buy me sneakers all the time, and you know that's how I started my love for it. And I think all the people you meet along the way, it's just so many different people of so many walks of life and cultures, and they could be, I know, lawyers, real estate agents, they could be a plumber to the stars.
I've come across a lot of people that grown to be like brothers and
sisters.
Who I consider family now. And that everyone just kind of comes together because of it.
Yeah.
Like you meet them because of sneakers, but you become family after the fact because everyone's so genuine in the culture because you're always just trying to help people and, you know.
I mean, if you asked any of them for anything, they would give it to you. Like, you know what I mean? A lot of them would give you their shirt off their back. And that's
there's a lot of giving people in the sneaker culture.
Yeah. And you wouldn't expect it looking at a lot of them. They look pretty scary sometimes. But yeah, and I think it's not really, it's not, I wouldn't call it an addiction. I think it's like a lifestyle. I think a lot of people don't understand it really. They look at us like, you kind of like, did you pay for those sneakers kind of thing? Like, they don't understand, like, you know, the stories behind it.
I don't line up much, but when I've seen old guys walk past me, like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just waiting for the shop to open so I can buy these shoes.
Yeah, I think it's, and you kind of like, you know, your day starts and it's like, oh, what shoes can I wear today? And it's like, well, if it's raining outside, you ain't gonna wear those kind of thing.
You can kind of set your mood.
Yeah, like it sets, I think that's sneaker culture for me, I think.
It could have been Peter Lai from Wellington. Shout out to you, Pete, for adding me on to Soul Central. So I've been on it for a long time, probably about 2014. But the favourite poster would have to be recently, which is DT's post, shouting out to everyone that, hey, we're going to have this exclusive sneaker event with Loaded. And I just wanted to get on board. I thought it was an awesome idea. I'd love to see that happening more with different stores. That was the post, but it was what the post did for us. I got to meet a whole lot of sneakerheads at that event that I hadn't met before, but I've been conversing on the page with. But especially all the female sneakerheads that were there on the night, it was just awesome to meet up with them. The event was probably about 3-4 hours, but I just wanted it to go on. It just felt like it was only half an hour. It was so good. So shout out to DT, who I actually met up back in the days in Wellington as a sneakerhead, lining up at Foot Locker. So
I got introduced to the page from DT, Dental Para, and he's an example of someone then that I've maintained a friendship with for a long time. So yeah, I think my favourite moment is just meeting people from that page that are just good human beings that you want to talk about all aspects of life with, not just sneakers.
And from the get-go, I guess one of the best things that I've ever been a part of in terms of that Facebook page was the first sneaker NZ events that we had at Nike Britomart in town there. That was awesome, man. It was such an awesome night. Obviously, it was because of the bringing together of people. It's something that I really enjoy. Like, make no mistake, I'll still be copying sneakers regardless. And so being able to talk to other cats who are on that same vibe was really awesome.
NZ Sneakerhead Days, just the summit is in 2013. Had Brian's shop that was iconic, and it's if you look back at those photos that were taken, some of the faces that are in that picture are still involved in the community now, and it's awesome because that was I don't think that feeling can be replicated. Well, there were people that shared the same passion. They were all there, and it wasn't embarrassing to look down at a dude's sneakers and go, "Ooh, those are nice." Like, before the summit and before that, I thought I was on an island by myself, and nowadays it's not the way. Nowadays we can get together and talk about sneakers, and it's not weird.
Oh, I still would probably have to go back to our NZ Sneakerhead collab party. To me, that was where a lot of us met, probably me and you probably met, and all these sneakerheads came together, of all different races, of all different colors, all different levels. Some people were way cooler than other people, but nobody cared. We all just came together. Shea Fu got up there and rapped, and we had a great party. That brought us all together.
Going back to growing up in Whangarei, I didn't even know about Facebook groups or anything like that. Marketplace wasn't a thing. 2017, I joined Soul Central. In my opinion, it's kind of new, I assume. Yeah, a lot of people are like, "Oh, that's pretty new for you." I'm like, I'm from Whangarei. We don't even know what Soul Central is up there. Some of us growing up, definitely. I attended the Pack Heat 2017. It was dope to see females, a lot of female influence in there selling grade school shoes. For really good prices too. I saw a pair of Thunder 4s, Lightning Pack as well for the 4s. Just like the love and the aroha, everyone, I wasn't aware of it, like I wasn't growing up with that kind of culture around sneakers. I just see it on TV. And coming to Auckland, moving here, Pack Heat, they're able to bring everyone together, and we all can see what kind of shoes the display. I've seen some stuff there that was crazy. Like, I've only seen on movies or anything on like rap artists, and it was so dope to see them there.
And when I kind of started collecting sneakers, I was based in Whangarei, so like there was no sneaker stores in Whangarei. There was kind of like nothing, and so then like logically, you kind of trying to find people who kind of are part of this sort of situation. So I stumbled across New Zealand Sneakerheads, and then started like meeting people. And then I think the first event like that we had, the New Zealand Sneakerhead Summit, was almost Soul Central, was like, that was really cool. It was really cool just like coming to an event, like everyone's wearing cool sneakers, like just hanging out and having a good time. And I think the cool thing about it was like people from all walks of life, but there was like this connection that we had, and that we could all kind of make conversation and connect and hang out. And that's when I ended up meeting Phil Bell, DJ Severe, and he introduced me to someone called Kevin Downey, who at that time worked at New Balance but has a mental collection, not just New Balance. And so that kind of like Phil and Kevin like kind of opened the door for me, I think, for a lot of stuff that I've been able to do, which like I'm very thankful to both of them for, like both just amazing people, like really good people.
My name is Kevin Downey. I'm originally from Dundee in Scotland. I currently live in Southland, New Zealand. I'm an event manager in the craft beer, wine and food scene. I've been collecting shoes since 1985. In my career, I've worked as a brand manager for the following companies. I've worked for Fila, Converse and Diesel in the UK, then moved to New Zealand and was fortunate enough to work for New Balance for 9 years. They're a fabulous company with fabulous people. And recently I've been with Champion. It's been great to follow your dreams and to do something you love doing. We grew up wearing all these different brands, Italian brands, and Stone Island was one of our main brands. We were wearing this since 1992. We love it. When they did a collaboration with New Balance, that was fabulous. They only sold the shoe in stores in Italy. So a friend of mine, Keith, who's based in Australia, arranged for someone in Italy to go in the shop and buy these for us. He got a pair and wore them to death. I've still got mine unworn. Love the colours, it's my football team, favourite brands, New Balance and Stone Island, bring it on. Made in the UK, can't get any better. Back in 2013, I planned a trip to Barcelona, which coincided with the New Balance store opening up. This pair of shoes, the 991, was a release made in the UK for the launch of the store. 47 pairs were made. An overnight queue was needed to get these shoes. We were at the launch party the night before, but it didn't guarantee a pair of shoes the next day. So a few drinks were had, and then I put up with the cold and queued up and got my shoes, which I'm really proud to have because I don't know anybody else that's got a pair. So fabulous pair of 991s from New Balance. This one here is the Adidas Forest Hills, which was based on the tennis centre in New York. The midsole, which is the yellow midsole, is absolutely exclusive to the shoe. We hardly see it on anything else. The gold stripes really stood out, and there was only 400 pairs when they first launched of this, so it's got a mythical status within the casual fraternity. Love the shoe. I need to start wearing more of my shoes, don't I? I'm very fortunate. I've travelled to lots of places with sneakers. I've been to Adidas headquarters, Puma, Converse, New Balance, and fortunately I got to go to Nike. So this was 7 or 8 years ago. Lee Gibson, who's from New Zealand, is one of the designers there, and through Ruben at Good as Gold, he arranged that I could have basically a tour of the Nike office, the Nike factory, the Nike shop. The Nike shop was fantastic. And while I was there, I chose this pair of shoes. I love Air Maxes, I love the classic style of Nikes. The colours of this on my football team, Dundee United, tangerine black and white, so I couldn't resist them. And such a great memory, and thank you very much to Lee and Ruben for sorting that. If I was to give any wisdom to anyone, I would say wear your shoes. I've got a collection of between 500 and 600 pairs brand new in boxes, and some of them are starting to rot. I should have wore them. There's so many events I could have wore them. I love having them, but I love wearing new shoes with my friends. So wear your shoes. You guys buy shoes differently from me now. Back in the day, if I travelled and I saw a pair, there's not a chance of going back there, so we'd have to buy it on the spot. And you guys now buy things online and it's a bit different, but I would say if you get a chance to buy something, buy it there and then, no regrets, and wear your shoes with pride. No point in them sitting on the shelf getting dusty.
There's 4 stores that mean a lot to me. The first one is Sterling Sports in Palmerston North, because I remember going there when the Jordan 11 lows dropped and they had them in the store, and I just couldn't believe it. I just remember that's just a really fun moment I have, so I remember picking them up. There's also a Sterling Sports store in Monaco in south of Auckland that always used to get everything in that I couldn't afford, and I would literally just go in there every 3rd day and wait for them to go on sale, and as soon as they went on sale I'd buy them. So Sterling Sports Monaco, and that'll ring true with a lot of older collectors, because I know I mentioned it one day and everyone was like, yeah, I remember those days, because yeah, I remember picking up like some 12s there that were like, because full retail back in the day was really punishing, man, for back in the day. So if you got like $100, $200 off, it was amazing. So Monaco Sterling Sports, Palmerston North Sterling Sports, Flight Club New York City, the original one. So Flight Club now is like a huge deal. It's just a massive thing. But back in the day, way back in the day, there was just a small store, lower Manhattan. And that was the first time I really put some money down on some shoes. I bought a Defining Moments pack there. And that was a lot of money. I think I bought it for like 700 US, but at the time that was, but I mean, it's way more than that. I think it's worth way more than that now. But at the time I was like, damn. I remember my manager, as a DJ, my manager Jess was with me, and she's like, man, you're not gonna spend that much on those shoes. I was like, no, this is, and that was the moment. I mean, I don't think that was the moment, but that was a moment when I decided, I'll spend anything on something I really want. And the last place is a place in Queens called Image. And Image has got quite a good online presence, but that place, I've spoken about this many times, but I always say to people, go to New York. Go to New York, not so much LA, go to New York because there's a lot of sneakers there. You'll get a good deal. Image is where I get the good deals. I've never said this in public, but that's the place. So it's only one train ride out of New York City. The train station's real close. I got taken there by a really good mate of mine who lived in New York. Went out there, just mind blowing, man. Because they get stuff in so much, they just turn it over real fast, and it's secondhand prices. So, you know, I go out there and then, you know, I don't know, there'll be like a pair of 4s that are at Flight Club for $650. Go up there, they're $350 with a slight scuff on the sole. Like, I wear everything anyway, I don't care. So it's a $300 saving for a $4 train ride. That's the place. So Image in Queens, that's real. I was real impressed by that. Yeah.
My favorite sneaker store. So 2010, I went to New York for the very first time, and there was a store, a small store in Brooklyn at Fulton Street Mall, and had everything there. It's not, the shop's not there anymore, it's gone, but they had everything in that store.
From memory, one of the ones that really sort of stands out to me was the Kicks 101 store in Perth. The reason why I really liked that store was that that's one of the first places that I went to that had rare Jordans for sale. And so the owner of that store had all the general release stuff. We're talking like about 10 years ago, so maybe 2009, 2010, when I was going over there. And he was selling some of his personal collection, and he was the same size as me. And so size 12, and had all this crazy rare Jordan stuff that you wouldn't find in normal stores. So I really like that one, Perth. Kicks 101, and Kicks 101 in Melbourne, which is the original store, was also crazy too.
I probably would have to give mad props to the Compound Surf Shop and Skate Shop in Sarasota, Florida. They've always been my plug for Dunks ever since Dunks came out, and that's really probably when I kind of hardcore started collecting.
My favorite store that I've been to would be the Bape store in Hong Kong, because I really love Bapesters and I always wanted a pair. When I was in Hong Kong performing, I had a full day, like a full free day, and so I chose to go shopping with my friend, and I was like, look, I need to find the Bape store, I need to go and try find some Bapesters. So we went, and I just, honestly, I felt like I was in heaven. And I spent 3 hours in the store. Yeah, and I was just so determined to find like my size, but I couldn't find my size. And then I walked upstairs and found that there was the kids and women's section. And I was talking with the worker there, and then I managed to look down and I saw some Bapesters there. And I was like, oh my gosh, do you have like size 6? And she was like, oh, like she went to go look out back. And my poor friend fell asleep because we were there for so long. And you know, we'd been dancing like for days. And I felt so bad, but I was just like so determined. I was like, I'm so sorry. But yeah, I ended up getting me a pair.
Oh, I think mine probably be Loaded. I've always had a good experience there. Like everybody there has always been really welcoming. I think kind of like an experience on itself. You go in there and it's kind of like you've got like the music and you've got all the different rooms and levels and stuff like that. I think it makes it really cool.
I really liked it when it was downstairs.
Yeah, yeah. When it was original, it was just that one where you go down and that was it pretty much. But
it's mine's Britomart. Yo, shout out to Brian. Like Britomart. That's my whānau right there.
Yeah. No.
Gotta go in there. Always say hi to him, you know, friendly face. Massive part of the community. That guy does a lot for us. Yeah.
I'd have to hands down say that the best experiences for me were Wellington Foot Locker. Who made that special to me was Graham Saunders. We call him G, the G-Man, old G Styles. He still works there today. I've got a lot of shoes through him, but I have to do some other shout outs as well now that we're in Auckland. Brian and the team, Billy, down at Nike Britomart, they do an awesome job. You know that they're looking out for you, making sure that there's no resellers there in the line. He's really good at knowing your size. Mad love to you guys. And then secondly, definitely give a shout out to Loaded and the team. So Marty, Lisa, Nawai, who looks after online sales, mad shout out to them.
It was about 2008. I was visiting Auckland for Chris Brown tour and Rihanna tour, and there was really loud music coming from the store. And I was with my mum at the time, and she hates loud music. So they were playing a remix of Yo Excuse Me Miss by Chris Brown. I was like, okay, I'm going to the show tonight, so I'm going to go in the store. Went in the store, they had this big graffiti wall, shoe wall as well, and they had a lot of skate-inspired shoes. I only went there once. When I moved to Auckland, it was shut down, so I was glad to experience that. They were able to incorporate art, streetwear, skate, and all those elements into one store. That store was called QUICKFIRE.
I think my favourite store would be QUICKFIRE in Newmarket. Like what Frank and the team did at QUICKFIRE just really elevated the game in terms of that. It became this immersive experience to go shopping. It wasn't just a sneaker store. Yeah, it was a whole experience. And I remember getting a pair of Mr. Cartoon Air Force Ones from there in an auction. So I've got memories of picking up quite difficult sneakers to get from being there. So yeah, definitely QUICKFIRE would be my favourite.
Hi, so it's Frank Liu here. I'm currently based here in Hong Kong, but I spent quite a bit of my life back in Aotearoa, New Zealand, and I'm one of the founders of souljam.com and QUICKFIRE. So there's no real origin story of how Souljam or QUICKFIRE came about. Really at the time, I think it was about 2005 or so, I was meeting a lot of people in sneaker lineups and events and really enjoying the friendships that came out of that. We decided to create a space where everybody could congregate online. And at the time, the community was very fragmented. So, you had a lot of crews and here and there. You had the Greyland boys, you had the South Auckland crew, you had the Wellington guys doing their thing, you had the basketball kids, you had the Asian kids. And generally, I remember feeling at the time that crews, by definition of that term, tribes, if you want to call them, are generally exclusive by nature. That's what gives them value for being a part of, that you roll with the crew. Back then it was a very different world to what it was today. If you saw a dude rolling down the street with a Box logo tee, you knew exactly that guy was into what you were into. That's very different nowadays. I gather that, but back then that connection was something special, and we really wanted to sort of like encapsulate that feeling into an online space where everybody could gather together and share their views or opinions and things on this crazy little subculture of ours. And at the same time, I also wanted to give people an opportunity to access our world too, and a place where everybody could feel like they were a part of something bigger than what they were. QUICKFIRE came along as a natural evolution of that. I don't know if many people remember the original forums, but there was an element of music, of art, of course sneakers, streetwear, off-topic banter. I mean, QUICKFIRE essentially turned out to be everything that we like, kind of put in one place. There really isn't too much to explain other than that. It was inspired by what our friends were doing overseas, what we had seen in our travels. And one of the interesting things I always remembered about QUICKFIRE was when we spoke to a lot of these brands about selling their product into New Zealand for the first time, the first question they would always ask me was, wow, there's people in New Zealand who are into this kind of stuff? And so, in a way, if I'm being honest, I enjoyed being this random little ambassador or representing New Zealand wherever I went for the people that I met. You gotta remember, it's a very different world back then. Everybody basically thought that we had hobbits for pets and we rode whales to work. I mean, the world isn't as a connected place as it is today. And you know what? Even though I don't work with many of these brands anymore on a professional level, many of them have remained friends that I check into whenever I find myself in their corner of the world, right? So it's nice to know that all of that came out of genuine friendships that was developed at the time. And in a way, it's nice to feel that friendship was able to shine a little light on what was happening down in New Zealand. I mean, there's too many stories about releases, product launches, parties, or things that happen at the store or with the people at the store to sort of like to tell everybody. But what I do remember fondly the most was seeing it create something that wasn't there when we started. You know, for this, I will be forever grateful to all of our friends, families, customers, anybody who stepped foot inside our doors or attended one of our events. You know, that feeling of community, of family, of knowing that you may have left something better than when you found it. And for that, I feel very honored and very grateful to have a part in that. So since we sold Cubic in 2011, I went on to accept a job offer and moved to Hong Kong to work for a company called Silly Thing to head up their creative arm. I continued to work with a number of lifestyle brands, including Nike, Red Bull, Adidas, and a number of fashion houses for a number of years. So fast forward 9 years on, that company has evolved into Blackbird Automotive. And we are the official dealer for Ferrari automobiles for Hong Kong and Macau. And you know, now with almost 200 people on board of the company, I can say it's been a very interesting ride. You know, what do you know? We sell cars now, right? Who would have thought? But it's interesting to note that we took all the lessons that we learned from street culture, from understanding how to present a conventional thing in a different way, and we just applied that to a different subject. That was the philosophy that we took with Blackbird going ahead. And I think that's made a name for ourselves in the automotive world now as well. You know, that we'd like to think outside of the square. We like to produce things to try to talk to a new generation and a new audience of people. We produce a lot of work for Ferrari, locally and globally. You know, and my personal passion now is filmmaking, you know, directing and producing films. So I do a lot of that nowadays. But yeah, what a ride, man, from sneakers to Ferrari. I feel like I've had my time, and now it's up to the next generation of people to pick up where we left off. It's saying that, I think it's absolutely incredible, you know, coming across the sneaker forums and Facebook pages today to see all the people who picked up where we left off and continued with it, the trolling and everything. You know, it's really nice looking for the pages and seeing names I recognize from, you know, the days, the good old days. You know, Bevan, Isaac, Vex, Hale, Benny Wong, Jordan, Leon, all the boys, and all the original Cubic crew, man. Keep that passion pure, man. Remember, it's always about the community. A strong community is all that matters at the end of the day. Especially so when you're in these little subcultures. You know, protect it, look after it. And, oh yeah, resellers still suck, man, and they always will. You know, but honestly, I'm stoked for everybody. I'm very happy to see everybody thriving. And keep it up, boys. 160 Broadway forever.
What's your word of wisdom?
Patience, I'd say. Patience. I'm the worst person there.
Yes.
Yeah. But really, patience is the key to sneakers as a whole, in my opinion, because, yeah, if you miss out, just be patient, because one day they'll pop up.
No, yeah. Yeah.
One day they'll pop up. I've been hunting for these for years. And they'll pop up at a price you won't believe. And sometimes you can want that sneaker, and they'll come up, and then after a while you realize that you didn't really want that sneaker, and you paid through it.
Yeah.
So yeah, just be patient and just let it ride out, and You might change your mind on it, and then you might not.
I think.
But everything comes along eventually.
Yeah.
And if you're good in the community, you do good things for people. People will do good things for you back, and then it's just all goes around. Air Force One.
Air Force One.
Oh, Air Force One.
I'm going to say Air Force One.
Air Force One, come on.
Adidas Superstar. I saw a lot of Run DMC when I was younger. I saw a lot more Adidas when I was younger.
Three.
Jordan 3.
3.
Air Jordan 3.
Air Jordan 3.
Jordan 1.
Nike.
Nike.
Adidas Yeezys.
No Yeezy.
Nike, 100%. No question.
Adidas Yeezys.
Sponsored sneaker place.
Own my own sneaker store.
I'm going to say own my own sneaker store.
Own my own sneaker store.
Own my own sneaker store because I can put a lot of energy and passion, and I can put a lot of what I've seen growing up, and I can spread awareness on that.
Sponsored because then hopefully you've got access to the stuff you want. You can design and influence, and yeah, sponsor would be the dream.
I'm going to say $1 Million Collection.
My mum would kill me. The house, my whole family can move in. Yeah.
Oh, that's a tough one. 15 years ago I would have said sneakers, but I guess with age and having a family, it's got to be the house, you know? Got to put a roof over the kids' heads, so I'll go for the house.
I'd have to say have $1 million house.
$1 million house.
Oh, $1 million house.
My proudest moment in my life would be traveling to Germany. So as a dancer, I got the opportunity with my brother, who was an artist, and so I was able to take my 2 best friends and 2 other videographers, and we traveled to Frankfurt, Germany, and we performed a work honouring my late mother. So it was at a well-known museum in Frankfurt, and just being able to honour her through my love of dance was amazing.
I don't know, that's a big question. There's been a lot of proud moments in my life actually. Me and my wife are celebrating our 10 years married, and we're actually just having this conversation about like what are the kind of big highlights of our life for the last 10 years. We've got 3 kids, so those are definitely up there. They're 8, 5 and 2, so yeah, they're all amazing, all very different. But yeah, I don't know if there's a singular proud moment, but there's some great moments, yeah.
Proudest moment's definitely becoming a dad. I've got a little girl who's 4 and a little boy who's 2. So yeah, becoming a dad, you know, the first time you hold your kid in your arms, and then just that whole journey of being a parent and seeing them grow in front of you, definitely the proudest moment.
Oh, look, one of them's definitely going to uni. I'm one of the only in my family that's gone to uni, but apart from that, I've been with my partner Jessica for 25 years, and 5 years ago got to marry her, which is a pretty proud moment for me. I think throughout our 25 years we've had struggles, as you know, and I think it was just really awesome to be able to put a ring on and say, hey, you know, we're married, so that was a really great moment.
The proudest moment of my life, well, there's a couple. Of course, my 2 children, of course, Kaya Rose and Carlo Hendricks. I think that the time that I'm most proudest for me, when I actually patted myself on the shoulder, was probably when I was 42 years old and I got the Nike franchise for New Zealand. I was pretty proud of myself.
The most proudest moment of my life have been my kids. I know it's probably a really corny answer, but yeah, it'll have to be the birth of my sons. They've definitely given me direction. 100%.
Just having my kids, I guess. You know, kids are pretty. It's pretty monumental moment. Like, I don't think that anything can eclipse that. Like, really, nothing really comes close. But I've got 4 kids, and every single moment, you know, bring them into this world has been pretty special. Yeah, I don't think anything will be better than that. Not at all.
Yeah, kia ora koutou. Tēnā koutou katoa. It's 3 a.m. in the morning, I've just finished DJing. I'm on Rotorua. DJ Professor, by the way. Fest 64, representing Pack Heat. I'm on tour around Aotearoa, playing some New Zealand music and stuff, which is dope as. And I get to rock my kicks, so today I'm going to rock my Carolinas. Evans all day. I'm going to rock those low cuts, some white socks, you know, look nice and fresh. Shay Starr actually coined the word Pack Heat, comes from Pacific Heat, which again is pretty specific to us in New Zealand, Aotearoa, representing around the world. But yeah, just want to send a shout out to my Pack Heat crew, Pack Heat all day, and also to all of our other NZ Sneakerheads, Soul Central fams, Soul Collector fams, everybody around the world, everybody in Aotearoa that just loves your shoes. Make sure your feet are flossing, because my brave Phil Fumana always tell me if you got some bad kicks on your feet, you're going to be cool. So that's why I love rocking my J's all day when I'm DJing. They're comfortable and we look pretty fly, eh? Fly all day. Okay, this is Fest 64 signing out. Much love to my Paki crew. Kanuti mihi kia koutou, po Māori e. I'm going to catch some sleep, got to get up at 7. Alright, peace. Professor out.